Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. Now, I want to continue this wonderful Shakespearean play of Gaius Julius Caesar. I really like Caesar. By the way, in the bookstore I saw a hilarious soap that said Lady Macbeth on it. Like a bar hand soap. Super funny Shakespearean joke. I won't ruin it for you, but if you read Shakespeare's Macbeth, you'll get it, right? Totally hilarious. There's tons of Shakespearean jokes that once you've read the books, you really find them quite interesting. Okay, let us begin. I'll read it. Hopefully it helps you relax. Always good to maybe fall asleep to something like this, or just to be relaxing under the sky, walking the beach, however you like to consume the content. Let's begin. Now, we are in Act 2, Scene 2, Caesar's house, and this is the point where a servant re-enters. Servant, they would not have you to stir forth today, plucking the entrails of an offering forth. They could not find a heart within the beast. Caesar, the gods do this in shame of cowardice. Caesar should be a beast without a heart, if he should stay at home today for fear. No, Caesar shall not. Danger knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than he. We are two lions littered in one day, and I the elder and more terrible, and Caesar shall go forth. So here you get to see a little bit of Caesar's psychology, don't we? That danger knows full well how dangerous Caesar is. Right? I mean, he was pretty legendary. He's one of my favorite figures in history. Two lions going at it, right? And so when he says he's the elder and more terrible, if you recall, lions in nature, the young ones try to make their way into their adulthood, taking on the male's place within the pride. It can be quite tense. Quite tense. Now Calpurnius speaks. Alas, my lord, your wisdom is consumed in confidence. Do not go forth today. Call it my fear that keeps you in this house, and not your own. We'll send Mark Antony to Senate House, and he shall say you are not well today. Let me upon my knee prevail in this. So let me upon my knee prevail in this. So she's on her knees begging him to stay home. He'll say it's his wife's fear, not his own, so he can maintain his honor, and instead send Mark Antony to go to the Senate. She's having the fear of what's going to happen to him, right? Caesar, Mark Antony shall say I am not well, and I, for thy humor, I will stay at home. Enter Decius. Here's Decius Brutus, he shall tell them so. Decius. Caesar, all hail, good morrow. Worthy Caesar, I come to fetch you to the Senate House. Caesar. And you are come in very happy time to bear my greeting to the senators, and tell them that I will not come today. Cannot is false, and that I dare not falser. I will not come today. Tell them so, Decius. Calpurnia. Say he is sick. Caesar. Shall Caesar send a lie? Have I in conquest stretched mine arm so far, to be afeard to tell greybeards the truth? Decius, go tell them Caesar will not come. Notice this. Have I in conquest stretched mine arm so far, to be feared to tell greybeards the truth? Fear to tell greybeards the truth. Getting at, why should one fear the old man when you have more might and a conquering presence than them with more reach? If you recall, Caesar was loved by the people, hated by some obviously too, but he was a very popular figure. Had allies, But the Senate was another whole beast in general. These are men who can rule by the pen, with plots and schemes, and not necessarily beholden to the battlefield, right? As we saw, they won in the end. Decius. Mighty Caesar, let me know some cause, lest I be laughed at when I tell them so. So, he's telling Caesar right away that you need to tell me what to say because some of them are going to laugh when I say you're sick, so I need an excuse that's going to be believed. Caesar. The cause is in my will, I will not come. That is enough to satisfy the Senate. But for you, private satisfaction, because I love you, I will let you know. Calpurnia here, my wife, stays me at home. She dreamt tonight she saw my statua, which, like a fountain with 100 spouts, did run pure blood, and many lusty Romans came smiling and did bathe their hands in it, and these does she apply for warnings and portents, and evils imminent, and on her knee hath begged that I will stay at home today. Now, a fountain with 100 spouts, and pure blood was running from it, right? So it was shooting out, right? This is an interesting way to frame what happened to Caesar's was but straight butchery on the Senate floor. He was shanked over and over, publicly. I mean, by people he forgave. He forgave his enemies, and they used it against him. Right. If he would have just put all their heads on spikes, well, pikes, spikes, spears, however he wanted to do it in the old Roman way, he probably would have been better off. But he forgave them, tried to be amicable, and they destroyed his life. It is quite tense, quite tense. And when he says came smiling and they're bathing their hands in it, so many will take part and take the wonderful opportunity that's been presented to gain the upper hand in their lives. Whenever one ruling figure is taken out of the game, there's a void, a vacuum that must be filled. An opportunist will spring to the occasion. And so they'll partake in destroying Caesar so that they can get some gain. Decius. Thus, dream is all a misinterpreted. It was a vision fair and fortunate. Your statue spouting blood in many pipes, in which so many smiling Romans bathed, signifies that from you great Rome shall suck reviving blood, and that great men shall press for tinctures, stains, relics, and cognizance. This by Calpurnia dreamed is signified. So Decius has a different interpretation, right, than Calpurnia. He's seeing it as you're going to be the new lifeblood of the Republic, and you're going to revive them, and people will want anything of you to get a piece of that energy, because blood is energy, and energy is in blood, right? So this is an interesting interpretation because you can see both of Calpurnia's and both of Decius. So now Caesar's in a stuck place of who am I going to follow? Caesar. In this way have you well expounded it. Decius. I have, when you have heard what I can say, and know it now, the Senate have concluded to give this day a crown to mighty Caesar. If you shall send them word, you will not come. So he's saying that the Senate is going to crown him. He's really luring him, isn't he? Their minds may change. So look, he's like, oh, they're going to give you a crown on the Senate, and if you don't come, they might change their mind. Here, though, Caesar has to use his wit, if we were him, right, and say, the Senate is never going to give up the Republic. They'll never want a dictator. That's why they hated Caesar in the first place, right? What do the graybeards in the Senate want? They want to preserve the Republic. Besides, it were a mock apt to be rendered, for someone to say, Break up the Senate till another time, when Caesar's wife shall meet with better dreams. If Caesar hide himself, shall they not whisper, Lo, Caesar is afraid? So what is he doing here? He's using the mockery to get inside Caesar's head. To say, oh, your wife had bad dreams, so should we all convene when she has better dreams? So he's getting at, like, they're going to think your wife is going to dictate your behavior and the Senate's behavior, right? And they're going to say that you're afraid. And Caesar obviously doesn't want to be seen as being afraid, right? Pardon me, Caesar, for my dear, dear love, to your proceedings bid me to tell you this. And reason to my love is liable. Caesar, how foolish do your fears seem now, Calpurnia? I am ashamed I did yield to them. Give me my robe, for I will go. So now, Decius was able to make Calpurnia lose, even though we know Calpurnia was right. Sometimes the woman can be right. The valor that Caesar so loved was used against him and was a tool of manipulation. Right? Instead of saying, the person who loves you had a horrific dream, whereas Decius, who has no spade for you, has encouraged you to go somewhere and has sung you a fancy lie that you're going to be with a crown, that people will whisper of you, that you're afraid and that you're on the whims of your wife's dreams. Caesar already had proven himself, mind you. He has conquered Gaul. He survived Sulla. He survived pirates who took him captive. He had a triumph, and Vercingetorix, the leader of the Gauls, was naked and executed eventually by Caesar himself. So, again, why? And he had already had relations with Cleopatra of Egypt at this point. So why is it that that's not enough to where he would say, eventually people are going to talk, but the Senate whispering that he's in a man is empirically not true? He's conquered and achieved more than so many men. And yet, this thorn that Decius was to put in his head of gossip made him go into the spider's web. Now imagine if Caesar just would have not told Decius the truth. If he would have just said, I can't come, I really don't feel good. Maybe Decius wouldn't have been able to convince him. But why is it that Decius Brutus was trusted so by Caesar? Again, Caesar didn't want to lie. He didn't want to put forth a lie to make it seem that he was afraid of the graybeards. But he forgot that anyone can be cunning at any age. Very interesting, isn't it? We'll pause there and let me know what you think. By the way, if you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. I help support the channel, and there's lots of different things I post on there. Right now I'm breaking down the Netflix show Breaking Bad with a lot of psychology, so you might enjoy that. So consider joining.